Thank you, fellow Toastmasters. How are you? It's good to be here. I'd like to make a confession right off the bat. I never went to South Africa, but I did meet Nelson Mandela in spirit. You heard the song of Michael Jackson speaking about the world could be a better place. In my judgment, he was the one that really brought it home to me. Now, when you think about Nelson Mandela, all of us are fairly familiar with his history. He was born on July 18th, 1918, and he passed away on December 5th, 2013. He went from prison in Robben Islands to becoming the president of South Africa. How did he do that? That's my biggest question for everyone. How did he go from prison to becoming the president of South Africa? And in my judgment, it was all about leadership. He didn't set out doing that initially. All he wanted to do was to question the establishment that had apartheid in place. And we all know what apartheid was all about, right? In the eyes of those who established apartheid, there was nothing wrong with having to arrest someone without just cause. There was nothing wrong with having to abuse someone, or to torture that person, or to intimidate. There was nothing wrong with having to tell a grown man, or woman for that matter, to say, this is where you have to go today. This is how you have to get there. You have to come back at this time, you have to be at home at this time. And by the way, you have to carry your past along with you. Until Nelson Mandela came and challenged the establishment. Sometimes in life we become comfortable where we are. But sometimes certain situations have to make us question where we are as well. With this questioning, the government became a little bit uncomfortable. It was with a little bit of vexation, and they got his attention. What did that do first? Let him know that there was something wrong, because he had a vision to say, look, this exclusion that we have, how could you possibly have 11 different ethnic groups? In South Africa, there are 11 national languages. Let me say that again. In South Africa, 11 national languages. That means that when there's a national news, it has to come in English first. And then it will come in 11 different languages where they belong. And only one, called the Africans, were the ruling party, national party, that held the entire nation to ransom. For no reason. Other than envy, jealousy, hatred, fear. That's what happened. And then he questioned the establishment. So what did that do? What happened was that with this questioning, things became a little bit different. They started to think a bit differently. What was beautiful about his approach to leadership, in my judgment, was the fact that he taught South Africans how to become inclusive in governance. In addition to that, how to use dialogue to do what? To communicate. See, dialogue breeds ideas to be going. And then when you can bring everybody together, the tendency is for you to understand and then try to form relationships with those individuals. That was exactly what he did. Now, when it comes to leadership style like we do here in Toastmasters, there are 3 aspects of this leadership that I very much cherish. 1 was candor, 2 was courage, the other one was charisma. When it comes to courage, sometimes it's difficult for you to part with history. How many of you are familiar with polygamy? Okay, now imagine what it is to be married to many women at the same time, right? In his own case, he was born of 13 children to a polygamous family. 1 of 13. And he was born into chieftaincy. And the setup in South Africa was such that people, the chiefs were on this one side, and then the government was on the one side, and in the middle were a bunch of South Africans who were languished and suffering, treated indignantly, if you would. And that was what turned his mind around. Now, when that happened, Nelson Mandela traditionally was going to be married, given a wife. And he said, oh no, he was born in Zambia, right? So he ran to Johannesburg. Now, as a chief, or son of a chief, you are free to roam and do whatever you wish to. But beyond that confines, you were in trouble with the law, given what the establishment was all about. So when he got to Johannesburg, he realized my freedom was very limited, and he had to do something about that. Now, when it comes to courage, like I told you, he abandoned his polygamy, one, and then questioned the establishment. And that got their attention. Now, when it comes to charisma, for me, like I told you, I never met him one-on-one. But if you saw his image from a distance, if you read what he had to say, if you listen to him, he was sincere and very real in his approach. He was very fluent, very eloquent with his words. He was very forceful to say his convictions. He was also very, very talented in using words. Very, very passionate about his convictions. He used that to be able to convey meaning to other people in the process. It didn't matter whether he was on the streets dancing to freedom songs, or he was out there trying to resolutely greet the South African National Congress, like in Mandela. You all know that in 1979, there was an Mandela concert in Boston, Massachusetts. Now, Mandela means what? Unity. So repeat after me. Mandela! 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 Thank you. Now, when it comes to candle, there were a few people I know. Just really speaking, I've never met so many people in my life that said, look, I'm going to have to stop after one term. When he became the president, he said, I will serve just one term and one term only. And what did he do? He kept to his word and gave up his seat after that. They don't say that to our friends in Zimbabwe or Syria for that matter. You know that, right? They're all there looking for lifetime what? Presidency. So you have to be mindful about that. Let me leave with a quote real quick about him. Mandela said that the oppressor and the oppressed alike are both robbed of humanity. And in my judgment, unity is in humanity. We need to learn how to live together as one. Thank you so much.